In 2025, Assetto Corsa Competizione remains the official game of the GT World Challenge, the best GT3 championship in the world that attracts all the top teams and drivers. So this year, I've decided to set myself a wee challenge to try and beat each of the pole position lap times at each of the GT World Challenge rounds in the car that the time was set in. Welcome to the Pole Lap Challenge. And for this first installment, we are heading to Paul Ricard that hosted the first round of the GT World Challenge Endurance Cup, and we will be driving the Manfilter number 48 Mercedes AMG GT3. Considering a track and car combo that I have very little experience with, will this be even possible? There's only one way to find out. So let's hit the track and explain this challenge a little bit more. Now, one of the first things you might notice is I've got a countdown timer at the top left of the screen, and there's a specific reason for that. I wanted to put a time limit on setting this challenge, and how I've come up with that time is that in the real world Paul Ricard session, we had 1 hour of bronze testing, 2 hours of practice, 1 hour of pre-qualifying, and 3 15-minute qualifying sessions. Now, with 3 drivers in these Endurance Cup races and each giving an equal amount of time in the car, that comes out to a 1 hour and 35-minute of seat time before race start. So that is the amount of time I've given myself to complete this challenge. And what of the time? Well, the official time for the Car 48 pole was a 1 minute 53.712. which is the average of the 3 best lap times set by each of the 3 drivers in the 3 qualifying sessions. On top of that, I've done my best to try and replicate the very cold and grey day that was Paul Ricard in the qualifying sessions as well. 14-degree air temperatures on the day and quite a grey, horrible day. So we're going to come through here, 1 hour and 23 minutes left of my session time, and to set my first valid lap, a 1 minute 56.0. Now, to clarify a little bit, my best lap time so far around Paul Ricard, with very little time here at this track actually, was in the BMW M4 at a 1 minute 55. So even my very best laps already in this game are a long way off the time that I need to set, and this was going to be a real challenge. Now, on the next lap, I'm actually starting to find a really good chunk of time here. A big mistake though in the final corner. We're going to lose over half of that advantage, but we are going to bring that lap time down to a 1 minute 55.075, but we are still 1.3 seconds away from that pole sit time. The next phase of this session was really going to be about exploring the track limits. Paul Ricard is a very big open circuit with a lot of runoff area, and picking out where the track begins and ends was a little bit tricky for me. Turns 1, 2, 3, turn 5, out of turns 9 and 10, and certainly the very fast corner, turn 8 at the end of the long straight, were all giving me dramas. But I was going to need to find the limits if I was going to extract out this pole time. You see a big spin here at the end of turn 8, and that was quite a frequent occurrence for me. All the way to 53 minutes left of my session to go, and we finally started to actually put a complete lap together. The big time I was chasing was at the end of the lap where I had made that mistake, but trying not to get there with too much of a disadvantage. Coming out of turn number 9 here into turn 10, still trying to work these corners out to where the best line was, but really at this stage was just trying to get through a full clean lap to sort of show where my current limit was before looking into some of the data. Coming around the final couple of corners here, turn 12, and not making that mistake here into the final turn 13. We're going to come out the other side and make a nice big improvement to the line here for a 1 minute 54.472. About the limit
of where I felt I was at that current stage, so it was going to be time to jump into some data. Breaking down the lap though, with the Go Fast app, I was able to pick out a few key areas for me to work on. Now, using second gear for turns 5 and 13 seemed to be what the fast lap was using. Holding third gear through the long turn 9 and trying to get on the power as early as possible for that corner exit, and not downshifting at all at the end of the straight through the very fast turn 8. However, with those changes in mind, I certainly wasn't improving like I had hoped to, particularly using the second gear in turns 5 and 13 really didn't make the car point the way that I wanted to the apex. The car felt very understeery and I really struggled to get the car turned and get on throttle as early as I could, basically losing time through all of those corners. Good example here, the car just wants to understeer, and in fact we just lose all 4 wheels on that one. Big slide, just wasn't really working out for me. With the timer ticking down, decide to go back to using first gear in those corners just to get the car pointing a little bit better, remove some of that understeer, and finding the benefits that I need to find the 7/10ths that I need to get this pole lap. A good example here now on lap number 18 of this session, 2/10ths up now as we come onto this very long back straight here at Paul Ricard at over 1 kilometre long. It's probably one of the longest straights in the GT World Challenge Championship. The other thing that I was noting was the fact that I was probably a clip too deep on the brake ducts, getting very hot brake temperatures through the middle of the course, so we brought those back to bring back some brake stability over the short runs that I was doing. And you can see, although shifting down in that turn by accident, I was getting a lot nicer through these complex corners here. Third gear working nicely for me as we come out of turn number 9, holding on to some of that advantage. Now we go a bit deep here into turn number 10. Again, it's very awkward corners, trying to find blind apexes and getting on the throttle as early as possible. Coming down into these final corners now, turn 12, second gear, trying to get that late apex, first gear and trying to get out the other side here to complete an improved lap now, a couple of tenths up, so we are going to move to a 1 minute 54.260. 30 minutes left of my session to go, and try as I might, I was really struggling to find an improvement on my lap times. Getting it wrong out of turn number 9 there and picking up a track limit. And again, the next lap, a very good lap, 2 and a bit tenths up, 3 tenths up, but once again pushing wide and invalidating that lap. A lot more invalid laps than valid ones in this hour and a half session, just as the nature of Paul Ricard. With 19 minutes and 50 seconds to go, again an improved lap that is invalidated on the way out of turn number 5, and I was really having to use those track limits though. If I was going to extract this time, half a second is not easy to find. Getting it wrong through turn 1 on this lap, really starting to frustrate me at this point. Will this pole position lap time actually be in me and in this car? So we are left now with the qualifying session remaining, 15 minutes, final push now, and the track temperature has come down to that 14 degrees, so we are right in the window of replicating this qualifying session. Big push here through turn 8, and we really just want to get one proper lap together. You can see my 54.26 is still my fastest valid lap. A long time since we've actually improved, so we're just looking for any improvement now to give me some confidence into these final few sessions. I'm going to come out of turn number 10 here, decent run, a couple of tenths up, looking at a 54.0, and that would be a good motivation for these last few stints. Coming out of the turn number 12 corner here, trying to get it stopped for the final turn and trying to make up a bit of time. Not really improving though, and actually only going to be a 10th improvement, but an improvement nonetheless. I know there's some mistakes that I can clean up. There is more time in this track and in this car for me. A 54.190 with only a couple of stints left to try and put this together. 8 minutes left to go now, and we are really feeling the pressure to try and get this one done. We're going to get a really nice run through the first sets of corners and come out of here over about half a tenth up on our best, up to a tenth, as we come towards turn number 3. Now this corner, I was starting to glide over a bit nicer, picked up a few track limits early on, starting to work that one out, and trying to get through here nicely. It was certainly a challenge. This turn number 6, really tricky, got to lift a little bit and try and get on power as early as I dare with that long run down the straight will benefit a really good exit out of turn number 6. Down the long straight now, I was starting to shift at about 7,100 RPM. Again, that data telemetry really helping out with where the shift points are for this car. Some cars you want to shift all the way through to red line, past red line. This one seemed that a 7,100 was the best case. Now we're going to come through turn number 8. The car is feeling pretty loose there. Big wobble. We just keep it inside track limits, but 2.5, 3 tenths up now as we come through turn number 9. Got to get this corner right. Nice and early on the power and a little bit too early. We just invalidate that lap, unfortunately. Really tricky corner, and I was really gutted to actually pick that one up. You come through turn number 10 now nicely, 4 tenths up, and we're actually right on the cusp now of actually setting that pole lap time. However, an invalidated lap is not going to count. We come through these final 2 corners with one more lap of this stint left, so we're going to come through to finish this one half a second up, and in fact this lap would have been enough to claim that pole position time. So 6 minutes and 10 seconds left on the clock. I know this lap is in the car, it's in my driving, just need to try and put it together, and we're going to come through with 5 minutes to go, and we can pick up a really silly track cut here. A good run, but cut the inside corner of turn 8, something I had not done all session long. So one final stint now to try and put this together. A big breathe out from me to try and relax and try and focus on the task at hand. Turn number 1, throwing it into the first corner, pulling all of that inside curb, not picking up a track limit, and we get a monstrous first set of corners, 1.5 tenths up. We are on a really good start to this lap here. Braking deep down into turn 3, get it right over that inside curb, hug the turn 4, a bit of foot throttle before down to first gear, trying to get the apex there and on the power as early as possible. Little lift to get the car turned into the apex and try and use as much of this runoff as I dare. Could probably be going wider there, but I did not want to be picking up a track cut at this latter part of the stage here. 3.5 tenths up though, and we are looking on a really good lap. Coming down the back straight now with only 2 flying laps left of this session. Big pressure now. I was really starting to think about my previous 2 laps and the track cuts at turn 8 and out of turn 9. So we need to be aggressive but cautious all at the same time. We get a really big slide on the way into turn 8, holding on to it though, but losing a little bit of margin. Down to turn number 9 now, and I am cautious on the way out here. Don't want to get on the throttle too early, got to keep it in the track limits, which we do, but again losing about a tenth as we come down to turn number 10. Now there was time to find in turn 10, which we do find. We go 3 tenths up now, and there needs to be a really good last part of this lap. Big pressure now, but with only 1 flying lap left remaining, it would be really good to put this one together. Coming out of turn 12 down to turn 13, 3.5 tenths up as we get on the power, showing 4 tenths up now. It's a decent final corner, and we're going to come down to the line now and set a 1 minute 53.792, fractionally over the pole position time by nearly the smallest of all margins. And one final lap now to see if we can't put this one all together. Tyres are warmed up, car's warmed up, there is a chance here, but not the best start to the lap. Half a tenth down, only need to find the smallest of margins here, and I was cautious through turns 9 and turn 8 as well. But as we come down to turn 5, a bit aggressive here, and we're going to make a bit of a mistake, sliding the car a bit too much, can't get on the throttle early, and as we come through turn number 6, the margin does go out. The clock goes down to 0, 3 tenths down as we head onto the back straight, and I can't see this one improving. And sure enough, we're going to come through the final corner here, all over the place, can't find that lap time, and that is going to be the end of our pole lap challenge, round number 1. Not quite getting the margin, but you know what? considering the improvements over that hour and a half, I am quite happy with the time I have extracted out of this car.
So we just missed out on pole position at Paul Ricard by the slimmest of margins. In all seriousness though, that was a fun little challenge. The pressure of the countdown and using a car and track combo I have no experience with certainly made it an enjoyable process. Now for sim racing context, that 153.7 around Paul Ricard is roughly a 101.5% lap time. So yes, pro drivers will easily go into the 152s, but for me, 101% is very fast. And to do that sort of lap time in a car that I have no experience in felt very, very rewarding. I'm already looking forward to trying the different tracks and different cars as the GT World Challenge season progresses. And if you want to see how I go in some of those other rounds, then please consider subscribing to the channel and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Now, let me know in the comments, what did you think overall about the lap that I set? And also let me know what you think about the series on the channel. Do you like it? Do you not? Give me your feedback. I would love to hear from you. Of course, I will add all of the details of the challenge that I set in the description below. If you want to give something like this a go yourself, potentially like me, you'll find it a nice little challenge and a nice little deviation from the ranked races that we often do. As always guys, race hard, stay positive. Look forward to seeing you again soon in another video. Cheers.